Swole Foe DJ. Try to jump right into this thing, man. Us rap. Right, it's a refugee program. You had the programs where usually refugee is something like political asylum and people fleeing their country because of turmoil type of thing. So Ukraine and Afghans, these are some countries where they highlight the people are fleeing the Taliban as far as the Afghans and the Ukrainians from the Ukrainian war. Now, this is done from basically the White House, the Biden administration. We're having a lot of criticism of the Trump administration. Now, everybody out there, including a lot of these people who kind of like applaud and clap usually when they talk about issues, like Hassan Wali. A lot of time Hassan Wali is on point, right? I call him brother student minister, right? He just broke down not too long ago what is a Semite. He defined Semite, the actual technical definition by the wordsmiths. Semite. Now, what is Semitic? What is a Semite? But he also said, and not too long ago, that all of us talking the Black Power talk and everything that fall up under that category, we can sit down and be quiet if we don't speak up about what's going on over there by the Gaza Strip. Now, I'm going to say this right now. This is what's wrong with us so-called Black Americans. And this has been what has been wrong the entire time. The entire time, the U.S. Corporation of America, fraud corporation at that, has been operating. What we see today, from the Biden administration to Trump's second term in office, and as you can see some of this stuff goes back to Trump's first term in office. What we see today is simply a current, modern day, specific. If you get into specifics, this is going on the last like 12 years. Because I think Biden replaced Trump. Then Trump came in again. So you have Trump, Biden, Trump again. Kamala is not even indigenous, or not, what's a better term? Autochthonous to the Eastern Hemisphere. She's more like the continent they call India or something like that. So what we are seeing is the same exact pattern. They came over here with white cargo and melanated peoples from the Eastern Hemisphere when they first came, operating Roman Curia, Intercaterra Divino Policy, Dum Diversis, the Bulla, the Papal Bullas. Now, they came from various corporate ward nation states: Portugal, Spain, France, right? And I think I'm missing one. Dutch, Portuguese speak Dutch, I think. Spanish, French, and I think I'm missing somebody. England, primarily. Now, a lot of these were melanated people that descended from the Great Danes and all this kind of stuff, right? whom the Albion had to pay tax, which they called blackmail. Now, they had the Albions amongst them as white cargo for the most part. Now, they came over here operating on that bulla. You got to go research that bulla if you're not up to speed on the very first bullas that were, I forgot a lot of names. I used to know the exact Pope name, exact date, who actually described, who actually wrote it for the Pope, who was laughing so loud you could hear him throughout the whole entire building they were in, because he thought it was just ludicrous that they thought they would come over here in the Western Hemisphere and take it all by force. Now, with the U.S. corporate ward nation state, who are actually operating on a contract to do commerce on the land, meaning permission to come over here and do business, regulated by UCCs and whatnot. That's actually what it is. But being that they had the pleasure and the opportunity to educate us in the prisoner of war camps, which are schools, they have not told us the true nature of their presence here. They told us something different. And that's how we got a de facto government. That's one way, other than the foot in the behind and the bloodshed by force, which they had to do primarily in the beginning because people really did know what was going on. They knew what was going on. When they got to the point where people really did not know and were being educated, they had to use less force. But they couldn't totally eradicate the truth from the minds of the collective. Meaning it was always enough of the real situation still in the minds of the collective where they would have some resistance to varying degrees depending upon each individual who's autochthonous over here. Now, when they came initially, they did what we call land grabs, okay? Where they would force people out of the areas they were at. When you read the accounts of Carlos Linnaeus and Frederick Johann Blumenbach, those type of people that first came around the time of so-called Christopher Colon, when they described the people looked like who you call African Americans and so-called Latinos. The hues, the skin colors, were from dark skin, what you call black-skinned, olive tone, down to light. That was the original Indian, was from indigo, a dark black, blue-black. Okay, that was the original, not this Siberian, light-skinned, chunky-eyed, high cheekbone, no facial hair growing, and naturally type description we got down the line. And then down that went down even the iron-eyed Cody, who was like an Italian, a light-skinned, quote-unquote white Italian in actuality. Iron-eyed Cody they used to use on a commercial about so-called Native Americans. So with that being said, so-called Black America have been basically robbed of their own estate from the time they could set a foot. As a matter of fact, you enter our waters before you get to our land. Those are our waters out in the Atlantic and the Pacific until you get into a certain longitudinal designation on the globe. Then that becomes the Eastern Hemisphere. But when you get past a certain longitudinal designation, that becomes us, Maghreb al-Aqsa. So they have been poisoning us, infesting us with smallpox and chickenpox. Every dirty little trick in the book from the time they start bringing their nasty, wet river rat behinds over here. So now let's look at these programs that all these sissies crying about, that the Trump administration is now trying to check, that Biden and Kamala right? Who traces her line back, like I say, over there in India somewhere, and just a couple of generations up, right? These people are just snatching away from us. We can't get Section 8. We shouldn't even need programs like HUD and Section 8 because the land everything sits on is ours. Everything grows from, everything grazes upon, all waterways, land, air, water, sea. Look it up. Now, we can't get Section 8. They just prematurely closed the Section 8 program. This last one that just opened. My phone got stolen before I could find out whether they would contact me about the one prior to that. I was on that one. But my phone had gotten stolen. For X amount of months, I didn't have my phone. When I finally got another phone, I couldn't access my email and all that because the white Hispanic male that stole my phone had gone into all my emails and social media accounts and made it so that I couldn't get back in when I tried to get back in. None of the accounts would interact with me at all. And I couldn't use my password that I know and all that. He went in and tricked it up and messed it up. Right? Even made a statement on my Facebook. That last post on Facebook, that's him, not me. Now, these programs, these slick politicians refer to, usually they refer to them in such a way to make you immediately identify with the refugees and whatnot and feel bad for them and say, oh, but listen, go find out exactly what that is. The refugee programs and the other programs, Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, the Afghans fleeing the Taliban, Ukrainians fleeing the Ukrainian war. You got the Central Americans trying to be reunited with their families. Department of Human Services are the first people they see. This the same department that broke ours apart, put people in jail, police gun them down and put them in the ground, and snatch up the children and prostitute them, human traffic them through the foster care and adoption. The same people. They meet the people at the airport as soon as they get in the country. They give them transportation, money to eat with, place to stay, education. They will be financially cared for from the time they set. It's like they made the wet foot, dry foot policy for the entire world now instead of just Cuba. But the problem with that is we right on the heels of a lot of jobs. But let's start with the COVID-19 lockdown, where all the other European countries and all the other countries had just been given independence from colonization of European countries, corporate war nation states, were getting a monthly check to cover the expenses of the whole entire family. Look it up. We were the only country who's supposed to be the richest country on earth, right? Supposedly. We didn't get a check. We got one check here, one check there. That was it. That third one, you had to have children in the house and da-da-da-da, and some people got that. Nothing else. We talking about month to month. Look how long that lasted. Not just the lockdown and the curfew. Even when they started, because the lockdown, there was like non-essential workers, stay home. Like, okay, stay home and do what? No answer. I never saw on the news a regular broadcast that I had to read it. I had to read about it. Like read like a newspaper like type thing to find out down the line that the landlords couldn't force eviction for non-payment of rent. That was one thing they gave us. One kind of like relief. But then how you gonna feed your family? How you gonna put gas in the car and get around from here to there? Because eventually the lockdown came up. Never got a check. Every other country getting a check every month to go shop at the grocery store, go buy gas, the essentials that you need. Then you got small businesses or independent businesses who never did have a job, that they, like I said, non-essential workers, but they never had a job that could send them home because they worked for themselves. But now you get no assistance, right, from the government, your government. You are the primary constituent of the government, of the people, for the people, by the people, supposedly, right? Now, this de facto group of players and actors who are acting as government, who will be held accountable in international war court when that time comes, they take not only the monies that they extract through tax, property tax, mortgage, all this kind of stuff, then they can just print it up with the Federal Reserve, and they take the programs that parties like Black Panther Party and other, the Black Student Union had a whole lot of parties that would come together. It wasn't just the Panthers. These are the type of people that worked tirelessly, that went to jail, that got murdered, that got dogs sicked on them for you to have a 14th Amendment person, a minority, integration, and all of that they didn't take advantage of when they come from abroad and come right into this country and get all these programs. At the same time, we get turned away. We were the primary people, honor you will, the principal people that all of this was about, because we are the people that they were trampling upon when we stood up and demanded this. These people who just coming over here, Johnny come lately, they had nothing to do with the struggle, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the building, the infrastructure. It was a time where it was foreign to see any Albion with a hammer or screwdriver in his hand. We built this thing from the ground up. We engineered the very ground in places like Florida where you couldn't even build an urban or suburban or even a rural place, but ranches. We had to build it from the sticks and the swamps, right? We had mountain lions, crocodile, alligators, all type of snakes, all this kind of stuff. We had to do that shit right here. Now, we can't get our family. I'm going to give you an example. Charles Cook. I grew up calling him man. He out the Scott Project. Dog Pound. Scott Project. By the tracks. This man used to play in Arena Bowl. So he's like an NFL player, but he played in Arena Bowl. He's a football player, professional. He became a licensed bodyguard / dad security, whatever you needed. He is a fraction of a measurement, like a millimeter from being a police officer. When police come to functions many times, like a football game or a club or something like that, is people like him will make their job easy, where the police don't get shot, don't get their ass whipped, get their cars stolen, get their uniform snatched off them, somebody impersonate a police officer with them in the trunk of their own car, because people like him got somebody sitting on their butt with zip ties on their wrist, waiting on them to come pick them up, and they got a nice story for them to go and put on their A form, the affidavit. And they ride to the precinct with yet another somebody to boost up their quota, because they got to arrest X amount of people with their X amount of time, or the commissioner comes down on them. The police agent, Inquisition agent of Rome. This man had his life threatened in front of his home by someone who they put on the news. When you do the lockdown of the intersection, when you lock the intersection down and do donuts and do drag racing, man, the police getting to the point they finna come and shoot them people. They have stolen cars and all this kind of stuff. So this particular time, they didn't lock the intersection down, but the man was doing donuts in the street and flying down the block. Cook happened to know the person, though. They were neighbors. He approached the person. He's a little younger than Cook, but he's a man, grown man. He said, hey, man, you don't chill, man. You know you got the children running around. I think some children still running around the streets and all that. Man, come on, man. You might hit somebody the other day. He just talking to him, man, homeboy to homeboy. The man clicked. F-U-P-A-N about. He went to the auto. I don't know if he had dog boys or not. Tent window, but he went to the car. He has two people with him that he hangs with. He just told him, I will shoot you and your family. Mind you, Cook is a few feet away from his front door and just walked. The door might be open, unlocked, definitely. But he planned on going back in the house. The man dashed to his car, goes straight for his gun, and try to draw the bead, pull the trigger, and shot his own homeboy in the process. This is how serious he was about shooting Cook. He shot his homeboy in the seat next to him, in the passenger seat. Tried to draw the bead on Cook. Cook is a licensed security / that bodyguard. He got the drop on me. Bam, 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 got it. The 2 passengers survived the ordeal. The one that got hit by his friend, not by Cook. This Homo erectus, homicide detective out there, Broward, BSO somewhere, Fort Lauderdale. I don't know his exact department he works for. When I came to court, I got the news late to lend my support and my intel with the law and how it works and all that, help the lawyers with motions and all this kind of stuff, because they be kind of slow, right? So I'm trying to get the intel so I can start hollering out, statute, case law and all the kind of, they help it move forward. First of all, he's staying across. We like as far as we can be from each other. I'm just a little way from the wall that when you first walk in, the officer on the opposite end, like on a stand to testify, whatever, and he's having a staring me down, a little contest. Like to say, I ain't scared of you, like as if I came to I ain't coming to intimidate nobody. That case was won before you took him to jail. He should have took him to jail that night. That man's family had to find a way. His wife and children had to find a way to finally move from that neighborhood. Mind you, got 2 guys that was in that car that they saw pick up drugs and money and all that stuff and run off from the scene of the crime to hide the dope and all that and then come back. Them guys free. They didn't go to jail. His family had just been terrorized, just put on notice that this man, they homeboy gonna kill him. Forced Cook to knock him off right there. And you got 2 wild animals free. And homicide take this man that basically damn near police officer himself. Take him to jail away. He can't even protect his family. And he's innocent. And what we call it, stand your ground, self-defense. And you couldn't put a cracker in that situation, especially on camera, and holler about, man, they gonna exonerate them officers. They gonna keep their job. They gonna keep their salary. And ain't nobody gonna say nothing in that particular situation. This man looking at me across the floor, I said, okay, I don't play them games. So what happened, eventually, they rolled him out so long. He was so desperate to get his daughters and son. They very young. This man is miserable in jail, thinking about his family, that's all. They need a father, and he is the father. He took a deal just to get to his family. They took it up for years. He really won. He was going to win the case. Them people, man, the man dead, number one. The survivor just don't want the truth to come out, because that's going to lead to a further investigation on them, because that murder going to make it more likely they going to get investigated for them drugs and all that. They're in the area. They probably don't want to leave the area over there. Probably got on lock or whatever. That's going to lead to more, because it's a murder involved. And it's drugs and murder. Now, to get Cook in trouble and him out of trouble, he gonna push with the homicide officer to say, Cook killed him. It didn't happen like that. No, but then they found out, they was doing donuts in the street. So you can't say the conversation didn't go like that about that. Now, how about the part when he threatened the man's life and went and grabbed the gun? He can't deny that, because the man shot it. They did the ballistics on the gun they found on him. Cook never took the gun from him. The gun got his handprints on it. See, this is the type of things we going through collectively. Now, I touched on Fred Hampton, William O'Neill, Bunchy Carter, John Huggins, Claude Hubert, I keep forgetting his last name, Mussup. He had like Mussup. Now, I touched on all that, showing you how from year to year, month to month, fuck centuries, fuck decades, we talking about day to day, They forever got a foot on the neck, a foot in the ass, and all this kind of stuff to the original autochthonous people over here. And then you gonna tell me the same people that's snatching our children away and putting us in jail forever. Like I said the last post, they put Ike in jail in '87, around the time El Chapo first started snitching on the record for the record. He been cooperating with them in the '80s. Now, they just now taking him down for maybe the last time, because he been in and out and sneaking out and getting out. And then his family just recently went into witness protection because they finna start cooperating. The ones who inherited the cartel, feeding motherfuckers, the tigers and all that kind of stuff. Now, that's been like 40-year span. You telling me it took 40 years to do what you're doing right now today, but you got Ike in '87? I'm gonna wrap this up. It's 25 minutes. Swamp Phone DJs will rise again.